So I am busy trying to, of course, trying to get this going. And I will see in just a minute if I am live or not. I am trying once again to use the software that I got to broadcast over both mediums simultaneously. And I've had problems with this before. And so we're going to see if it does what it is supposed to do on today. I am just testing once again. So it's Monday. Can look, it seems like every I'll say every couple of days it seems like I'm saying it's Monday like a broken record. And I am so thrilled, of course, to be able to broadcast whatever day it is. But yeah, it just seems like I'm saying it's Monday again. Like I want you to be happy. Almost though, like we are in Groundhog Day, right? Like the same, not quite the same, but the same thing just seems to play over and over again. So I am thrilled to be here and to have this opportunity to have a conversation yeah, about so today I'm gonna wear my glasses, these glasses, and greet you. Greetings, happy Monday, and and just be great with being here, y'all. Um, so I've got things that are um, things that are requiring my attention over here, and just trying to get things off of my screen and just say good morning to you. I am so grateful and happy that you are here. And I hope you had an amazing weekend. Um, it, yeah, this is just too much newness, right? These glasses and this lipstick, and I'm looking at myself like, who is this woman? Who is she? I'm putting on my old glasses because it's too much for me. It's too much for me. Okay. Okay, there we are. My my standbys, my tried and trues, the ones that I have been in forever. I've had these doggone things. I guess it's maybe 4 or 5 years now. I don't remember, but I do so appreciate um having this pair of glasses. The ones that got me through while I didn't have any other glasses, I don't know if I misplaced them or what, but I haven't been able to find them. And those are my standbys, and just whatever. They are missing in action, but that happens a lot for me. I'll lose glasses somewhere around my house and not know where they are, and then sooner or later they pop up either in a pocket of something that I've worn and forgot that I put them in there. Wherever they'll turn up after a while. So I hope your weekend was absolutely magnificent, fabulous. We here in Cleveland had a cold weekend, even though the snow at some point subsided. It was still a frosty cold weekend. I did get out on yesterday, but for the most part spent my weekend in the house. And And a lot of times I think that for me, I don't know about for you, but I'm not one of those people that just have to have someplace to go, right? I am not one of those people that if I don't go anyplace else, I got to go to the grocery store. Or, thankfully, I do not have cabin fever. I don't have that feeling that I've just got to be out and about. While I know that there are so many that do, I am not. I am not one, and I'm trying to think if this is new or not. If it's a new thing or not for me. So, greetings to you, and happy Monday. And I've got a lot of stuff that is my normal that I'm going to do, like sharing a daily guide with you from this Dr. Marilyn Louise Leo. And even in my stuff, I share her things. And then I am going to get into this conversation about, I don't know, I've got so many things on my plate to talk about. And observation is one of those things. I have a friend who I talk to, and we talk about this idea of observation. And so I'm going to talk a bit about that today. Yeah. Good morning, Linda. Yes, happy MLK, Martin Luther King Day to you as well. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. I had not yesterday, even though I meant. I do believe that is in the kitchen. I have these, I do this thing a lot of times on and around Martin Luther King Day where I share with you guys this ideas that, at one point I downloaded and created a sheet that was all about my favorite quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King. And it was just one of those things. And I've kept that sheet probably, how, I don't know if you do this, but at least 10 years. At least 10 years. And it is, I just saw it the other day. It was on the dining room table. As I moved some things around, I saw my little packet, and yeah. So at any rate, maybe, I don't know. I could get up and go get it, but I guess it's not that necessary. So, good. That's good. Thank you, Linda. But I do have his Community or Chaos book here, but I will just weave in some things as I talk. So I have a friend that I talk to, and he is always talking about this idea of observation, and what I call it is introspection, and being able to look deeper within ourselves about the issues that we may have or may not have. And so I want to speak to that a little bit today. So yeah, there we go. All right. So this one I am reading from the Science of Mind book on, what is this? The Daily Guides out of the Science of Mind magazine that comes out every single month. I use the Kindle version of it, but as you guys know, there is a magazine that they actually put out that has these daily guides in there. And I actually so each of the daily guides comes in a just with the quotes at the top, the affirmation at the bottom, and it's really good. It is something that I have used to in my meditations, but now I'm sharing with you guys. So this one is called for today, living with an expectancy of good. Living with an expectancy of good. And her first quote is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it says, "Who you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you are saying." I use that quote constantly. If I don't use it, I think it. What you do speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. And I would never have credited that to Ralph Waldo Emerson, but okay, that's great. Um, and, sometimes people are kind of confused as to what things mean, but your actions speak so much louder than your words. I've had people that'll tell me, and this is just an example, um, ooh, there's no place I'd rather be, right, than right here where I am. And it's like, well, your actions don't say that, because what you're doing is, what your body is showing me, what your actions are showing me is that you'd rather watch football, or that your phone is more interesting than I am. So what you do speaks so loudly. Your actions speak so loudly. The words that your mouth is saying, it means absolutely nothing. And so how do we become integrous, or have integrity, so that our words and our actions match together? So I love this quote, and that's why I say I use it all the time. What you do, here says, "Who you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying." What you do for me speaks so loudly that many times I can't hear what you're saying. So from Ernest Holmes' 365 Science of Mind, he says the creative power is always reacting to us as we act in it. The creative power is always reacting to us as we act in it. That's good too. That's good too. So here we go. I will say to you guys that okay, that looks good. That looks good. That's funny. I need to open up my phone. My screen is showing me one thing, but I'm not really seeing it in front of me here. That's a good one. Okay, yes, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to, even though, there it is. That's a good one. Yeah, people watch more than you listen to them. Watch people more than you listen to them. Yes, yes, because their actions will tell you everything, right? And I just think that sometimes we don't explicitly say that to people, to talk about this how things need to be in agreement. You will see when it's out of alignment. You'll see that in their actions. And that's something I think we should tell our children too, because sometimes that gets lost. Don't, let me instead of just going merely by this. And then there are certain times in certain situations that you cannot listen to people, right? I have said to myself, you know what a vertical blind is? Vertical blinds go up and down. Vertical, that's what vertical means. Horizontal blinds go across like this, right? And so horizontal blinds, they don't even call them horizontal blinds because that's the common thing for it. But vertical blinds, since they go up and down, that's how. I will tell you one of my, and y'all, whatever, I don't really care if you judge this or not. I say to myself, never listen to or put, take it with a grain of salt what a person says when they're in a horizontal position. That means if they're laying down, don't take it to heart. Wah, 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 right? It just like that, right? It sounds beautiful. But unless they're in a vertical position, that horizontal conversation, I don't know about y'all, but I have found it to be like them getting amnesia all of a sudden. Like, I said that? Like, what were, where was, they may not even say that. They might even totally forget. Not the, did I say that? No, that is a whole different conversation. So vertical conversation, you can, bet your money on. Horizontal ones, take it with a grain of salt. That's been my lesson. Just saying. Okay. So here we go. Let me share with you what she says, what Dr. Marilyn Louise Leo says for this today. When we are in our garden and decide to plant seeds of a particular vegetable, let's say radishes, what vegetables do you expect to see after a couple of weeks of growth? Carrots? Of course not, she says. We plant radishes and we expect to see radishes. Radishes come up rather quickly and do better in cold weather. I plant radishes myself. It is the same in other areas of our life. Do we plant a seed of judgment or envy towards a person and expect them to like us? I think there is something within us that exudes, something others may not see, but they feel and realize there is something other than love towards them. This is the creative law of mind. When we act in a certain way with love and with an expectancy of cheerfulness, unless this is the true feeling within you, in your heart, the law will respond in perhaps an undesirable way to our way of thinking. Even though our outer appearance may be one of sincerity, who or what we truly are in our heart outshines everything else. Words and actions in alignment. Or you ever heard a song and it sounds like you hear the lyrics, but it sounds like the music is not in tune or not matching with the lyrics or the beat of the lyrics. It's like singing a fast song to a slow tune. It just, the words and the music don't match. When things are out of alignment, they don't match. And I think that that's what she's saying here. Let me go back and read what she says. It's time to turn things around. Release any ill will you may be harboring within. This may be ideas as well as people who have belittled you, or an animal that bit you, or even a plant that you gave, or even a plant that gave you a rash or produces pollen. Expect good and your life will be filled with blessings beyond your fondest hopes and dreams. State your intention with an expectancy of fulfillment of good. Be grateful for all you are and all you have. Keep deep within that you are provided with all the goodness of your life. Okay, so good. So what she's saying here is that you get not what you ask for, but what you think you deserve. That there is something in this universe that is responsive to you, to your desires. And it's not necessarily what you say out of your mouth, but rather what is within your being, what is true. Sometimes we ask for, say for instance, $1 million, but we only think we deserve maybe 50. And so sometimes this, because there is not coherence, meaning there is not alignment in what we are saying, what we're putting out, and what we're doing. When it's out of alignment, we get what is our truth, not what our ask is, not what the words that are coming out of my mouth are saying, but we get where our truth is, and so sometimes what I know is that, say for instance, when I have a desire for something, there is this part of me that is not always ready or willing to stretch into what my desire is, but I ask from the space that I'm in. I think that that's one of the things that I like to talk about. I ask from the space that I am in, knowing that sometimes what happens is that I need to a building. There is a building to get where I want to go. So if you are asking and not believing that you're deserving, or not even, willing to go there, if there is a development that takes place, and sometimes we're rushing the process, but there's a development that takes place. I love that people come into our life to show us certain things. It's almost as if the bridge that carried me over taught me what I needed to do to prepare for when I arrive on the other side of the bridge. So it's not always that we show up and things are ready. Sometimes we have to stretch. But when you're out of alignment, right? When you're not speaking your truth. When you don't believe a certain thing. So one of the things that she is talking about here is, because one of the things that she's talking about here is when she says, you don't plant radish seeds and expect to get carrots, right? You are planting radishes with the expectation of getting radishes. Sometimes we are harboring things in our mind that has occurred in the past, or that we think about in the past. So just like I said, don't trust what somebody tells you in a horizontal position. If in the past that has been my experience, going forward, I don't believe anything, and I don't care who it is. If they are laying down, it's just something that I just need to confirm once you're standing up, because it has been my experience that they don't always, they don't come together, they don't match, right? So this is something that I've built into my awareness. Good morning, Michael. Happy MLK Day to you. Happy Monday. I hope your weekend was good. So when she goes and she talks about this, whether it's not trusting because we've been bitten or abused or something has happened before in the past. So she's saying, that may color our ability to receive what it is that we want. You guys, we have to be about the business of trying to test and see where we are. And this goes right along with what I want to talk about today, this thing of observation. But before I go on or move on from this, her affirmation that goes along with this reading is, I expect and accept all the goodness life has to offer. I expect and accept all the goodness life has to offer. Yes. Okay, so thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. So, it's really interesting to me that so often we see without actually seeing. You ever see, and I do this a lot. I see, but I don't really see. I see, but I don't notice. I can be out someplace, and like the grocery store is a good example for me. I could be at the grocery store, and sometimes I am just in my own head space. I've got a list that I might be working off of, or I could have a book playing in my ear, or I could just not even be in the realm of noticing people when somebody all of a sudden makes, eye contact or calls my name. And now all of a sudden, oh, I saw you, but I didn't see you. I saw you, but there was no cue in. There was nothing that, that resonated with me to say, this is somebody that I know, or it's a friend or a foe. It was me seeing without actually seeing you. For me, that happens a lot because of, I'm not necessarily always in observance mode, or I'm looking for something else. So oftentimes, many of us have do I want to call it a selective awareness? We don't always see the things that we might in fact be looking at. And I think that by chance, the thing that was being said or what was shared today was so on point, because it illustrated just this idea that I can, what I'm looking at might not necessarily be what I'm seeing, because I'm not actually looking. When I think about this thing of observance, yesterday I talked a little bit about it, and I thought to myself, as we observe things, to observe it is an intentional act. If you think about it, it means to intentionally watch or notice or set apart, or to engage in something with intention to do it. Here we are on Martin Luther King Day, the day that it is observed. It's an observed holiday, and this day is intentionally set aside for us to observe it. I'll never forget, I was working at Randall Park Mall back when I was younger. And I used to have a set schedule that was really like Saturday evening, Sunday, and then Monday night, right? And sometimes that shifted according to the calendar, but I had set days that I worked. And something is wrong, video and audio off, but you're here nonetheless. You know what? I was wondering about that, Michael. That is why I have been that's why I've been still broadcasting over Zoom. Thank you for saying that. I've been broadcasting over Zoom because it seemed like one of those, you know how they have the foreign films, and the lips and the audio are moving in different places. And so I need to work to have these things synced. But it's really hard because when I'm just doing it here, I don't have the ability of seeing exactly what you're seeing. So I really do wish I could test this with somebody and and try to get it aligned. Yeah, so thank you for saying that. I need to figure out how to get those two aligned, and it might be to change the bit rate or something else in the background. But I appreciate it. Maybe I can maybe after I get off of here doing this, I will work on that again. I got to get these things working correctly, and I just don't quite. I'm not a audio or techie person like that, so I need to figure that out. So at any rate, let me try to so so when oh goodness, I'm trying to figure out where I was. It was observation of the holiday, or it was yeah, I think that's what it was. So we have an intention to set aside or to intentionally do something. There are times when I am looking for something and I can't necessarily find it. I'm looking, but what I'm looking for I cannot see. It's almost like there is a blind spot in my looking where I'm not able to see what I'm looking for. And it's not until I give up looking that I actually find what it was that I was looking for. And so, for a lot of times we get it's a lot of times we get those things happening to us, and when they happen, it is something that we can really observe and pay attention to, so that we are, that we feel like we can, cue in where we need to and tune out where we don't need to. This is an interesting mechanism that works with our brain. It is sometimes because we receive so much data and so much information, we have to be able to selectively pay attention to what it is that we need to pay attention to. Otherwise, we would constantly be, bombarded with information or ideas that are not relevant to what we are doing. One of the things that I remember from the little woman, and I need to go back and watch this series again. I know I picked up the book and read the book, but there was a series that came out called The Art of Tidying Up, and I do believe it came out on Netflix, with a little Asian woman, and she talked about how to keep your house clean or in order. And to some extent, I thought that some of her actions were over the top, and this idea for me of them being over the top is, I'm not the neatest person in the world. However, I'm not even in the realm of being a neat person, right? I can be, while my house is clean, I am a person that I will honestly tell you, I create piles. And so when I said to you that I saw my MLK papers, it was because I was looking for something else. I picked up a stack of stuff that I had in there on my on a table. I picked up a stack and I was thumbing through it, and I saw exactly where it was. And so this idea about that she talked about in her thing was about how everything has energy and vibrations. And she says that even the books on your shelf, even if you're not looking at them or cueing into them, they have an energy that is speaking to you constantly. And so one of the things that she talked about is keeping your books upright. She talked about the numbers of things that you have that show words to you that are, she says, because whether you are looking at them consciously or not, the words are still speaking to you. So in spite of the fact, like I have I have monitors that are on my desk, and then I have up above those, I have a board that is there. And on my board, I have pictures as well as affirmative statements, things like that. And those things, she says that even when I'm not looking at them, my subconscious mind is picking those things up. And so we have to be conscious about what it is that we have revealed, so that they are not. So if it's something that you don't want in your consciousness, you actually take it out of your line of sight. So you may walk into a person's house and they may have pictures on the wall, and the pictures may, even though we're not, it seems like they fade into the background, they're still speaking to you. So when I'm talking about observing, to watch, to look, observation has an intentionality behind it. We don't need to have intention in order to see things. We see because it is, our eyes are open. We see it regardless. That's one of the reasons why they say that in hypnosis, people are able to see things that they didn't know, or they are able to recall things that they did not realize was impacting them. So all of this stuff, regardless of whether or not we're paying attention, it is still speaking to us. And so in order to be intentional with what we are looking at, we reveal certain things or not reveal certain other things so that we are not distracted by them. I know that, when I first started doing this, and, I think that maybe what I can do is open up, I don't know, we'll see. But one of the things that I do know is that, when I open this up, it's really interesting too, because now all of a sudden there is something else that is within my line of sight, and then that too begins to speak to me. You guys, this is a never-ending process when you think about it. This idea of focusing, what we focus in on and what we withdraw our attention from, or we out of focus. It's a constant maneuvering. I don't want to call it a battle, but it's something that has constancy to it that we can talk about, or you can think about. So this idea of observing and what our observations are, I think, is something that is extremely critical when you think about it. What am I paying attention to? As a matter of fact, what am I showing, right? So when you see, say for instance, you're looking and you see that there is this whole thing on the side of my screen where you see the morning glory and that live piece. I'm using the software that I got so that I can broadcast to different channels at the same time. Good morning, Twyla. Happy MLK Day to you. I'm using a particular software that I can broadcast to a number of things at the same time. That's part of, I couldn't say, I don't know for sure, but in part I have this lag in what you're hearing versus what you're seeing. So there's a lag in there. So there's the observation that is a point. And what I've found is that when I have had that happen before, it seemed like less people watched. And I don't know if it was just my imagination or what it was, but it can be distracting. But this idea of observation, what we're observing, I think is so crucial, because for so many of us, we go through life a lot of times without observing, right? Without the bringing our full attention to anything. So whether it is a person's actions and whether or not they line up, their words and actions line up, and it's ironic that now I know uh, oh, you said that's why all the pictures of my wife are off the wall and put away. I'm sorry. Is your I'm maybe I don't know about your wife, Michael. You know, I so focused on God and his word. Yeah. Well, and so and Michael, I wanna that's one of those things that sometimes it is so ironic when people say that to me, because what I recognize too is that there are so many different the books of the Bible. Each of them are inspired writings by somebody who heard the voice of God very differently. So depending upon who you're listening to or what you're reading, you will get a totally different feel or texture to each. They are not all created equal. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They are all created equal, but they don't give us equal messaging. Some will have us walking and feeling love. Some will have us walking and feeling conviction. Some will have us walking and feeling as if we are sinners moving through the world. Some will empower us. Some will elevate us and motivate us. Some will give us a protective armor as if we are on a battlefield. And some will show us our invincibility. And so it depends on what we are reading, what that focus and feel is. And so when you find something that resonates with you, to focus in on that, because all messages, they are, and depending upon when we approach them, we get a different feel for them at the time of approach. And so this idea of just saying, I'm focused, that is such a, it's such a broad statement. It's such a broad thing to kind of just say that I'm focused in on God's word. It's such a broad statement. And it just, like I say, it just depends. So observing how each thing affects you and how it speaks to you, what it makes you feel like when you read it, whether it resonates with your soul, is an important task. Because what I've found from my studies, and many people have studied and studied and studied, that that book that we now have, that we call the Bible, is a collection of what they figured out was the best of the best from over the centuries, over the millennium or whatever. They have figured out that this is what they wanted to include, but all of them are not necessarily about or saying the same thing. But you can find just about anything and everything in there that you so desire. It just depends on what you are interested in and what you're looking for. So when I say observation is an interesting thing. The questioning of yourself, to say, self, how does this make me feel? Right? Even as you listen and watch to me, right? How does this make you feel? Like at a certain point, you might reach or have a hiccup, right? Hit a speed bump. Like, oh, what did she say? Is she saying that I need to pay attention to, not that this whole thing is for me, but I need to pay attention as I'm reading this? What is that? Because for some of you, that will be a oh my God, what is this woman talking about? This will be one of those things where you'll start to feel some kind of way